Hola, mi amigos, and welcome to the Sir Gladiator Show. On today's edition of the Sir Gladiator Show, I would like to give you my review of the season 4 premiere of the TV show Lost Girl. There's just so much to say about it. It was very unique. Um, uh, I have some notes here to help me remember some of the things that I wanted to talk about because there are so many things to say. There's so many different things to cover, things that happened, things that are still a question. Uh, wow. First off, uh, the I guess the main downside to the episode, what you would think would have made it a bad episode, it was really not. It was a really good episode, but you would think that it would almost have to be a bad episode because you did not have Bo or Tamsin in it, and that was bad. I mean, but they they really made up for it by giving you some good shocking stuff. The first of which I want to touch on, I have here at the top, of course, is Dyson and Kenzie together. Yes, together. If you haven't seen the episode, it starts off with Dyson and Kenzie are a couple, and to explain that, um, basically everybody, I guess everybody who knew Bo has had their memories erased. Not all their memories, but just their memories of Bo. Nobody remembers Bo. And so I guess it's kind of like a sort of what if so and so had never lived? What would have happened? It was kind of like what if Bo had never lived? Probably not exactly, because again, she obviously had influence on certain things, but it's kind of like what if Bo had never lived? What would have happened? Um, in a way. Um, and apparently one of those things is Dyson and Kenzie would be together right now, right? So they made quite the couple. They have a lot of chemistry. They're very impressive together, and they made you want to see them together more. Uh, and we can only hope. But they had them together, and it wasn't as if they forgot about Hale. They uh, they had Hale in there, and Hale was hitting on Kenzie, you know trying to win over Kenzie, but he was having no success because she only had eyes for Dyson. And again, this is the I know that some people, you might say, well, it's because they were under the influence of the spell that was making them forget Bo, but obviously forgetting Bo has nothing to do with for example, Kenzie's feelings toward Hale. They certainly didn't have any influence on Hale's feelings toward Kenzie. It's just clear that Kenzie cares, a great deal more about Dyson than Hale. She prefers Dyson. And this was made very clear. So it's like, if you're going to put Kenzie and Hale together, you did a really poor job of starting that off by making it clear that she would never be with him if Dyson were, not obsessed over Bo, right? Um, if Dyson were available, she would be with him and not give Hale a second thought. That's not a real good way to start a relationship if in fact they're going to do that, which we all assumed that they were, and I think you still would assume that. Um, but Dyson and Kenzie, awesome. They even had a dance sequence thing where Kenzie got to show off, how awesome she can dance. We know that she can do that in real life, the actress who plays her. And so that was great. Um, Another one of my notes here I want to point out, because again, these things, it's so easy to forget so much because so much happened. And so one of my notes here is Hale's powers uh, seemed especially cool. To me, they were cool for the first time ever. Now maybe they were cool at some other point, and I either forgot or didn't see it. But to me, I never really found his powers cool. They didn't seem cool, but they did in this episode. He had a fight scene with Vex, and boy, that was cool. It was toward the end of the episode. It was a really cool scene, and his powers in particular seemed very cool. It was a good scene. It was well done. And so, you know, Hale and his powers both deserve props. And you know, those powers don't deserve props often, if ever, other than this time. So maybe they're going to be better from now on. Okay. Another note, the next note on my list of notes here refers to the Unamens, who is, if you haven't heard, they're like apparently they're going to be like the big bad guy group for the season. And there were a number of references to them in this episode about how they're about to take over. And Vex specifically was saying, you know, we were going to have this party. There was a party toward the end of the episode, and Vex, I think, was throwing the party. It was like it was going to be the last party before the Unamens take over and put a stop to all the fun. It's like, okay, they're taking over what exactly? I think that they're supposed to be like Fey elders, which is okay, but aren't the people with power ultimately the Morgan and the Ash? You know, I mean, the elders. What exactly are they doing? I'm sure that they have power and whatnot, and then they're very powerful, but aren't the Ash and the Morgan supposed to be running things? Aren't they the ones supposed to be in, you know, like in charge as much as anybody's in charge? I mean, why would the Unamens be taking over, and what exactly are they taking over? Are they gonna? I mean, are they like going to be abolishing the positions of Morgan and Ash, or are they just gonna like be rendering them irrelevant because they're like gonna be the only ones making decisions, so they're going to take away their decision-making power? This doesn't make any sense. It's like, I didn't get that, but you know, it's one of those things. You know, maybe you'll understand more as the season goes on. My next note goes back to Dyson and Kenzie, because boy, that was awesome. It mentions potential new love triangle: Dyson, Kenzie, Hale. Kenzie clearly prefers Dyson. Again, they made that not the slightest bit ambiguous. It was extraordinarily clear. You know, unlike, you know, the old Bo love triangle which she had with Dyson and Lauren, where, you know, they basically were portrayed as the Bo loved them both equally. Kenzie clearly does not love Dyson and Hale equally. She clearly much prefers Dyson. So that's much better right there, because, you know, all this number one, you know, the old love triangle went way too long. So there you got a fresh new one here. So that's a plus. And you got one that actually makes sense, where somebody actually prefers one over the other. You know, that makes sense. So that's good. And it's Dyson on the winning end, and that is good for me. I mean, I am a bigger Dyson fan than I am a Hale fan. Obviously, if you're more a Hale fan than a Dyson fan, you're not gonna like that as much. Sorry about that, but this is, you know, for me, and I think probably for most people, would probably be more of a Dyson fan than a Hale fan, and so we would find it good that Kenzie prefers Dyson. Anyway, but speaking for myself, I do. Okay. I should point out in my next note here, Vex has his powers back. In case you're wondering if he has his powers back, he does, and he is, or seemed to be, evil again. He's back to being evil. It's unfortunate. Don't know how that's going to work going forward, just how evil he's going to be and whatnot. That's another one of the sort of the things that we're going to have to wait and see. But we saw that his powers are back and he is evil again. Um, One thing, my next note here is something that I didn't even notice. Somebody else noticed it and pointed it out. And it's fascinating, and but I think it's consistent with what we have seen and heard. Um, First, let me describe it. You know, remember the card at the end of season 3 where you know, after Bo was taken by the Wonder, how the card didn't just have the Wonder on it, had the Wonder and Bo on it. You know, at the very end of the season finale of season 3, that card was shown again. And I saw the card, and I didn't miss the card, but I missed something that was on it that I do not believe was on it before. It was, I think, at or toward the top of the card. It was the Roman numerals for the number 2015. Now, the most reasonable guess there as to what that means would seem to be that, you know, the Wonder is coming for Bo next season. He's coming back next season. That he's not going to be around anymore this season, I guess. But I mean, that's what it's. I mean, wouldn't that make sense? That's what that means. I mean, if somebody else, if you got an idea of what else that might mean, you know, feel free to let me know. But it seems like that's what it means. That the Wonder is now going to be in 2015. The whole, you know, all that stuff, the Wonder and Bo, and no one presumes that Tamsin may also be heavily involved in that. Anyway, the next note deals with Lauren. Lauren working at diner. Wig fools the Fae. That's how I wrote the note here. Because she's working in a public place. She's hiding from the Fae by working in a public place, and no one is finding her because she's wearing a wig. I mean, come on. I mean, I would think that would make a lot more sense. I mean, where are the other Taft people? Why? I mean, she is supposed to be. I mean, she was like, you know, Taft's number 2 person, so she should be in charge of whatever's left of Taft's group. She should be like, you know, hiding out in like an underground bunker or something with the rest of Taft's group, and she should still be doing her scientific stuff, you know, or researches and whatnot, you know. And the key point here being hiding somewhere, you know, not out in public. I mean, how are the Fae? I mean, these are powerful beings and very clever and whatnot. How can she work in public and not be found by any of the Fae just because she's wearing a wig? I mean, this is absurd. I mean, it's not only absurd for that reason, it's absurd because she really should be doing something. She should be working. She should still be doing her research, working on the things that she was working on before. You know, good things. You know, not the horrible stuff that Taft was doing, but you know, like the good stuff. Like she was working on what was in one of those later episodes? Was it heart disease or whatever it was? Anyway, she was doing research, and she and her team, the other Taft people, you know. So I mean, she should be leading those people somewhere hidden, and they should be doing good research. That's what should be happening. Instead, she is working at a diner in public wearing a wig. Okay, so that's ridiculous. I'd like to before I continue on with my notes, I'm getting low on notes here, but there is something that I may not have fully explained. I did explain it to some degree about the how everyone had forgotten Bo. They did not explain why everyone had forgotten Bo, but they explained that it took something like an extraordinarily powerful, something extraordinarily powerful to make that happen to everybody. Uh, and it seems to me, and this is just me speculating here, that it was the Wonders doing, that he caused that. Now others have speculated that it was the Unamens, and maybe it's something we'll find out in the next episode. I don't know. I invite your speculation on that as well. But I know that they actually asked at one point. I believe Kenzie asked Trick, could this be the work of the Unamens, and he did not believe so. He believed that that was not their style. Now, was he lying? Was he wrong? I mean, Trick is supposed to, know things. He's supposed to be, extremely knowledgeable and smart and all that. So if his instinct was correct, then it would have had to have been the Wonder, right? He and it seemed like it would have been him, right? I mean, I don't even know how the Unamens people would have done it. Of course, you say. You can say you don't know how the Wonder do it, but it's easy enough to say he's extremely powerful. I can do all that black smoke stuff and all, right? So of course he can do something like this, right? It seems much easier to believe, without really having any idea how they did it. The Wonder did it than these other people did it. But who knows? Hopefully, we'll find out soon enough. But it seemed to me that it was the Wonders doing it, and with this. What they did was they had to find an object and destroy it, and in so doing, it broke the spell. It seems like once they broke the spell and everyone remembered Bo, that may be it for. If in fact it was the Wonders doing, that may be it for the Wonder this season because of that. What they say on that card. 2015. I would like to go back again, even though it's not on this note. It's not next on my notes. I want to go back again to Kenzie and Dyson because that was so great. To another point, toward the end of the episode, right before they got their memories of Bo back, Dyson was actually saying he didn't want to remember. He only wanted to remember Kenzie. He was afraid that he was going to remember something that was going to, ruin his relationship with Kenzie. Yeah, obviously something like that would be possible. And if you didn't know, like obviously we know, and the answer was yes. Sadly, but even if you didn't know, you would have to think it's a possibility. And so he said, maybe we should just keep forgetting, and that way we'll be sure to stay together. And he was saying how he would. It was a very moving speech-like thing that he gave to Kenzie, talking about how he would die for her. I mean, he really. This is pretty much up there with anything he's ever said to Bo. He clearly has extremely strong feelings for Kenzie, and one wonders how he's sort of hidden them for this long. We've known pretty much all along, that Kenzie loves Dyson, and she's never acted on it because, of course, because of Bo, because Bo has loved Dyson. She didn't want to, hurt her relationship with Bo. She didn't want to make her mad or anything like that. But also, hey, Kenzie, it's always seemed to me that Kenzie always liked the idea of Bo and Dyson being together because that meant that she could sort of live vicariously through Bo. She could be involved with Dyson vicariously through Bo, her best friend. So it seemed to me always that was why she liked them being together, and of course why she never, even though she certainly had the opportunity, she's never pursued a relationship with him. Although, certainly she should have, but she didn't. She didn't want to cause anything negative between herself and Bo. But here, because she had forgotten Bo, she could just act on her feelings, and that's why they worked together. And I think this had been like a month or so. I think that at one point they said like it had been a month or over a month, because at one point Dyson was going to the crash site. Remember the crash, where the truck crashed at the end of the season finale of the previous season. He apparently he went there like once a day to try to find Tamsin, because his explanation was because, it's only right because she saved his life. He wanted to, find her. He wanted to help her. But he obviously never found her. Every day he would go there, and every day there's no one there. I don't even remember if, I'm just trying to remember right now. I don't even remember if the truck was there. Was the truck still there? I don't remember. Maybe I'll go back and watch later just to see if the truck was still there, just out of curiosity. I don't remember, but certainly Tamsin was not there. So, but he would do that. It seemed like once a day. Now, don't hold me to that, but anyway, he went there, So, and at the end, toward the very end of the episode, he was going there again to because he once he remembered Bo, he then remembered that Tamsin was the last person to see her alive, and so in order to find Bo, it meant he had to find Tamsin. Now it wasn't just a case of hey, he wanted to return a favor to somebody who had helped him. It was he has to find her. He has to find her because she is the key to finding Bo, at least in his mind. I guess maybe say at least he hopes so. And so it was sort of funny because Kenzie was saying, "No, don't leave me." I don't know if that was sort of still because she still didn't want to lose him. She wanted to hold on there a little longer or whatever. But then he pointed out, hey, she's the last one that saw Bo alive, and he needed to find her. And so Kenzie then said, well, what are you waiting for? Go. And it was like she was just telling him, don't leave me. Now she's saying go because she wanted him to find Bo. So that was funny. That was toward the end. That was funny. My next note has to do with Aife and Trick. Aife met Trick at long last. It is the meeting that had been so long in coming. Again, this was toward the end, and she seemed happy to see him. She called him Daddy, and everything was good for seconds because they met like right before the spell that was making them forget Bo wore off, and then once the spell wore off and she remembered Bo, and everybody remembered Bo, then she was very angry because then of course she could remember Bo, and of course the Wanderer, and the fact that her father Trick had sent her to the Wanderer to be tortured and raped for hundreds of years. And the only thing that you can say in Trick's defense, which is obviously not a defense, is that he meant for them to kill her, not to torture and rape her for hundreds of years. I mean, that's not a defense, believe it or not. Trick is like one of the worst fathers in the world. He is horrible, a horrible, I mean, you can just keep saying horrible father. That is what he is. I mean, this is what he did to his own daughter. He sent her to the Wanderer, thinking that they were going to kill her. He was having his own daughter killed for the sake of for his own political agenda, which was seemingly noble. I mean, to maintain peace between the light fae and the dark fae, he was sacrificing his daughter. Guess what? That's not noble. That's horrible. Okay. Anyway, and so, but they chose not to kill her. They chose, the Wonder chose to torture and rape her for centuries because he wanted to have Bo, and so that's what happened. And so now she's remembering that, and as you might imagine, I mean, you can't, I mean, I can't, no one could imagine going through something like that, because nobody lives that long. So no one could be tortured and raped for hundreds of years and be able to identify with that. But you can certainly, there are certainly, like those people in was it Ohio, those poor women who were tortured and raped for years anyway. They could identify with that to some degree, couldn't they? I mean, this is horrific stuff. These memories are coming back to her, and suddenly, not surprisingly, she's not happy anymore. She's very angry now. She's not happy to see her father anymore. Imagine that. But actually, while that obviously is beyond understandable, it's extremely extremely understandable that she would want to kill him for what he did to her, while at the same time he is her father. But while that is true, and she actually did, I think she pulled out a knife and she actually did kill him, and that was one of the episode cliffhangers. And of course you would understand why she would feel that way, and quite frankly he would have it coming. But there is one important detail that is overlooked by that. Again, while her feelings are extremely justified and understandable and all the rest of it, there is one reason, and only one reason, is very specific, why she really shouldn't necessarily be feeling that way right now, and that is because at the end of season 1, if you recall, Trick used his super duper blood powers to change things to help Bo, and one of the effects, or one of the things that it caused, was for Aife to forgive, certainly seem to forgive her father. Now that's you say, well, that's quite a lot to forgive, but he's using his powers, and she seemed to have forgiven him. So what the heck, Did his blood powers, did the powers wear off? I mean, do they have a time limit to them? I mean, really, because of what happened at the end of season 1, is why she should not have been angry at him like she was. And she actually said, like, she'd been carrying all this hatred for years. It's like, but why? How is that possible when he used his powers on you to keep you from feeling that way? Again, her feeling that way would be extremely, understandable, and the only way you could feel, pretty much. I mean, it's extremely, I mean, after everything he did to her, I mean, absolutely. But again, he used his powers to make her not feel that way, and that was demonstrated at the end of season 1 that they worked. That she had forgiven him, that she wanted to be reconciled with her father, because of the powers that he used, and now it's as if that didn't happen. So that is something that is rather. I think that's just wrong. I think the writer just made a mistake there. Again, maybe they can clear that up in the next episode, explain it or something. But that seems wrong. Again, not because he doesn't deserve it, but because he used his powers to prevent it. And it clearly seemed to work. There was no reason given why they wouldn't have worked. So anyway, I guess we could say for now that his power wore off pretty quickly. Or something. I don't know. Again, horrible guy, deserves all the anger and that he gets for what he did, but how he's getting that anger when he uses power to prevent it is not something I understand. But I'm glad. I'm glad that even though I'm not glad that they did it in a way that made no sense, I'm glad that she's really getting that anger out there and really letting him have it for what he did to her, because it's just so incredibly evil. And he really needs to be made to pay for that. He needs to be made to beg, to grovel for forgiveness. He should not be able to just use his powers and get forgiveness that way. He should be made to, to get on his hands and knees to eat dirt, and just beg and plead for forgiveness, and to spend the rest of his life trying to earn that forgiveness, and to make just, you can't make up something like that to somebody, but to do as much as you can to make up something like that, make it up to her in any way that he possibly can, to at least begin to make it up to her, because again, you can't make it up or something like that. That's horrible. So yeah, he should be groveling. He should be doing nothing but spending his life trying to make things as right as he possibly can, and he should not be able to use his powers to just get out of it for free, So even if it doesn't make any darn sense, it's a good thing, It'd be nice if it actually made sense, but even if it doesn't, it's still really good. So I like that in either way. Okay, and okay, now here is the final point that I have written down here, and because this is a big one. This is maybe the biggest one. Certainly one of the biggest ones. Certainly, it's probably the biggest one for the next episode. This is a spoiler. Spoiler alert. All right. This is for episode number 2. Something major is going to happen, and if you don't want to hear spoilers, well, I don't know how long I'm going to talk about it. So, but just you'll like the spoiler. Okay. So even if you don't normally like spoilers, you'll like this one. Okay. We did not see Tamsin in the season opener, and we will be seeing Tamsin in episode number 2. However, there is a however. It is not, well, you might say the real Tamsin. It is not the adult version of Tamsin. It is the, months ago we learned that there was going to be a teenage Tamsin. So I guess Tamsin has been reborn, and we're going to see the reborn, younger version of Tamsin in episode number 2. She is apparently going to be, now, of course, this is based on spoilers. I don't know. I mean, we'll see it when we see it, but it's my understanding, best guess based on what I've read, that she's going to be about where, maybe exactly where Dyson has been looking every day for the last month or so. She's going to be there. Dyson is going to find her. I do not know if he's going to know that she is Tamsin, a younger version of Tamsin. I do not know. I don't know that. I don't know if that's going to, how long it's going to take for that to be revealed. If that will be revealed instantly, if it will be revealed later in the episode. You would figure at some point in the episode that would be revealed, but who knows? I mean, I don't know if and when that's going to be revealed. But she is going to be found by Dyson and taken to Kenzie, who will be babysitting her, and that's probably going to be some humor involved there. I mean, you would think that if they knew that was Tamsin, they would know that she does not need a babysitter. So you would think that even though apparently she's supposed to look an awful lot like Tamsin, somehow they're not going to know that it's Tamsin right away. You would assume, just because if they did know, why would Dyson take her to Kenzie to babysit her? Kenzie is a human Tamsin is one of the very most powerful fae in the world. Which one would be babysitting the other? You know, so I don't know, but I mean, hey, we'll find out when we find out, right? Um, so as I say, time will tell, and that time, of course, is Sunday nights at 10 p.m. on Showcase. That is in Canada. Um, I believe that the season starts in January here in America. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it for my notes here. I don't know how many of you have seen the episode yet. If you have not, I encourage you certainly to do so. This is an episode you're going to want to see, and probably more than once. It's a heck of an episode. You would not think that an episode without Bo and without Tamsin could be anywhere remotely near this good. You wouldn't. I mean, you would hardly think it's even possible at all. I mean, these are two of the biggest stars on the show. They're not even on in the episode, and it's. But I mean, they pulled out the shocker, the Dyson and Kenzie, and they had some other stuff too. But Kenzie was the star of the show. Dyson, was the other star. I think it's probably fair to say that in that order it was Kenzie and Dyson. It was their show, and Kenzie was awesome. Dyson was awesome. But I mean, Kenzie was. If you then narrowed it down to just one, who was the biggest star of the episode, you would say that it probably was Kenzie, and she pulled it off fantastically. Ksenia Solo, I believe is the name of the actress who plays her, just fantastic. They even wrote that dance scene. She's a dancer, I think. In real life, she is a very good dancer. And so it was just awesome. She had that awesome outfit, toward the end, where she danced in, wow, what a dress that was, huh? So I mean, she was great. Dyson was great. You even got to have Hale finally have his powers actually look cool. I mean, for me, it was for the first time ever. I don't know if any, maybe y'all did or didn't like his powers before, or thought they were cool. But for me, I was always underwhelmed. But it was great. His fight scene with Vex was really cool. So that was the good stuff. Kenzie had sort of a thing, sort of verbal altercation, as it were, with the fellow who played Mr. Sulu on Star Trek. He was one of the guest stars, and he being a Fae, ultimately decided that he was going to try to eat her, and of course she didn't. She was not agreeable to that, and so Dyson saves the day, just like he loves to do. It's like he always wants to do for Bo, even if she doesn't need it, But Kenzie needed it. See, that's the thing, They make such a great couple because basically Kenzie is everything that Dyson wants Bo to be, but she isn't. Kenzie is someone who needs him. Kenzie is someone who loves him more than anyone else. And I mean, you can agree or disagree with the premise that one of the women is more attractive than the other, but they're both plenty attractive. So I mean, it's not like you're losing out with either one of them, in the looks department. All right. So I mean, basically, Kenzie is everything that Dyson wants, and just for some reason can't bring himself to act on it. And but this was great. He got to save the girl that he loves, and instead of trying to when she doesn't need it, which is sort of what he's known for, right? He's gonna save Bo even though she doesn't need saving. Not that she never needs help. I mean, I'm not saying he's never been helpful. I'm not saying that, but I mean, whether she needs help or not, he's going for it, and so that's sort of the problem there. But Mackenzie, is human. She will always need his help, and this is something that he likes being helpful like that. So they make a great couple, and I hope to see more of them together at some point down the line. Um, Boy, I could go on and on. It was a surprisingly good episode, especially when you consider what was missing. Uh, Hopefully, once we get back our two big stars of the show, Bo and Tamsin, even though at first it's not going to be the real Tamsin, it's going to be the younger version of Tamsin. Right now, I should say, we don't know when the real Tamsin, played by Rachel Scarston, is going to come back, what episode number that is. There's speculation is probably going to be either episode 3 or 4. That's the current speculation. Okay, speculation. Not a spoiler, not knowledge on my part, nothing but just speculation that I've been hearing. Is that the real Tamsin will probably be back either episode 3 or episode 4. Hope is not later than episode 4, and 3 would be better than 4. But we'll see. Once again, time will tell. And so, while I could go on and on, I encourage your comments. We can go on and on in the comments. If you have questions or comments, whatever you like, please speak your mind in the comment section. Let's continue the dialogue if you like. I will certainly have more to say. You can get me talking about this episode, as I think you've already seen, right? And you can keep getting me talking about it. There's just so much. There was so much, and it was so much better than expected. It was great stuff. And so please comment if you like. Please like, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Thank you for watching this edition of the Sir Gladiator Show, hosted by your friend and mine, Sir Gladiator. Have a great day.